Department board meeting for March 1st, 2001. Our monthly meeting. So we will start it. We have Joe Reese, Steve Murphy, Peter Yule, Gary Graziano from the high school athletic director, and myself. So the agenda, we'll start with Gary. I put you on first so we can get you out of here if you want.
All right. Was Dave Taylor going to join us?
I think so. I sent him the info.
Okay. So the schedule I sent you included the 7 football games, and you saw that we scheduled everything away. We're using Abington's field and Norwell's field for practice this week and next week, and then we open up at Cohasset. So the last 3 possible dates were that April 9, and then the week after that, there's a playoff game, and then the last game on April 23rd. So we're hoping the weather cooperates and that we can get the kids who have gone through so much home game. Our league is different than other leagues. We haven't determined who's going to the games yet. We think it's just home fans, 2 adults per kid. So we have 45 football players, and cheerleaders is about 14. So that's the fall 2 COVID football plan. And surprisingly, I can't tell you anything about the spring season that's supposed to start April 26th with all spring sports, because the state hasn't determined whether they're going to do a spring tournament. So no one's done any schedules yet. They're waiting for that. So my only concern with this, we can go back to football in a minute. My only concern with spring is we have no practice field for lacrosse because the oval will be occupied. We'll play our minimal games that we'll have. There won't be many. There'll be probably 10 to 12 lacrosse games because it's all reduced down because of the COVID seasons. So we play like we did. We played 5 or 6 girls games at Reed Street and 5 or 6 boys games. I think Dave's still looking for a 1 game in the stadium at the end, like we did last year. That was great. But my only concern is to try to figure out where the lacrosse team will have a practice facility. And that was what I emailed Rich and you guys about, whether Jefferson and Hartson Park are available in the afternoons.
And again, same thing with you, that you've got problems with, Gary. We haven't heard much from anybody as far as anything else. Excuse me, as far as scheduling of anything, because nobody knows limits or how many people or whatever yet, you know?
Yeah.
I do know that all the youth sports are running their registrations as we speak. So, you know, they're all planning on running of some sort, you know?
So are those fields used from 3 to 5?
Usually, yes. But usually, sorry about the coughing. Usually, yes, on Hartford, because the youth commission uses them.
Yeah.
Oh, excuse me. But you know, we'll look around when everything gets going when we know better, because we don't know anything right now from anybody. You know.
So what happens at Eston School after school in the spring?
Really nothing. Soccer usually down there doesn't get down there till after 5 o'clock.
So would that be like a practice area for us possible?
Possibility, yes. Eston could be a possibility. My only fear, and you guys know it, is that with this construction that's going to be going on, we're going to be in a mess. We're going to be in a mess for a couple years. This isn't going to be a 1-year thing.
Oh, absolutely. I know.
For fields. So whatever we try to work out this year might be the template for the next couple years to go by, and we'll tweak it as it goes, you know?
What happens at Jefferson, Rich?
Nothing.
After school?
Nothing at Jefferson.
I mean, is that a possibility for Dave to have a practice there, David? I'm not familiar with the size of it.
Well, You'd have to check with Jean. I don't think she has any after-school programs coming up at Hardstuff from 3 to 5. So I thought Hardstuff might be the best options for the boys. Do you know
And
what I
then
mean?
girl,
And the
So what
girls,
we-
I mean,
Possibility is if, depending on what Jean's gonna run, because again, she being shut down because of COVID and trying to get reorganized, we haven't got any programs on the books yet, just like everybody else. The option could be that if we don't go, if we could put Dave at we could put lacrosse at Hartsuff and move what she runs to Jefferson.
and then that way, like lacrosse can both use Hartford.
Yes.
right.
And one after another. And
Right.
did she lose? She got her staff cut, Rich? Is that right? That they laid
Well-
off those people?
Furloughed them, but they're supposed to come back. They're
Okay.
supposed to be back in April when the weather gets better and we can run outdoor programs.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Indoor programs, we got axed on. We couldn't do anything. But once the weather gets better, she can run her outdoor programs like she was doing. And
So, yeah.
so we'll see.
So once the games start, so it wouldn't be a Monday through Friday thing. It might be 3 days a week that Dave and Sue Gormley have practice, and the other games they're playing at Reed Street or they're away.
Right.
So that won't be too bad that way if we do have that field full. So lacrosse is really the big spring issue.
What about softball? What are you doing for girls softball?
There's one softball team, and
Varsity, that's it?
yeah, and we were told by Mark Shawn and the building committee that the team would be able to get down to that field
Yeah,
without
that,
any.
yeah, that
right?
field is not getting touched. So
Yeah, we just wanted to be able to get them down from the school, and they said there's going to be a safe pathway around the fencing area for them to get to and the visiting team.
they can always come out the back and go down through the back of the stadium too, which will take
Yeah,
them
we're thinking about using the rail trail walkway or the back stadium road to get in.
yeah, they could walk down that way without no problem too. So
Could we park a bus? Could we park an away bus at the stadium?
Peter, what do you think?
Would one?
Yeah, I mean, if you had just one bus in the parking lot, it should be fine.
Remember remember a guy pulled back there, Peter, last winter and got stuck? We had to pull him out.
Well,
Yeah,
now that
yeah.
now that it's all paved, it'll
Yeah,
be a lot. In the parking lot's all done. It'll be a lot easier.
yeah, they could pull right through to Linden Street, park the away bus there, and they're
And
away
just
from
walk-
construction.
And just walk down from there.
Good.
Walk down
Okay,
to the
all
grove.
right. That sounds good.
Okay.
This isn't going to happen, but if we had a JV softball team, Peter and I don't know if you guys all remember, we played JV softball games at Spring Street.
You could play JV because we have two fields that are
Skinned.
dirt. Yeah, that are dirt.
Yeah, you remember that, Peter? We did that. We played our away games.
That was a while back.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
played our JV games at Spring Street and varsity were at home. So I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think we're a few years away from that.
Well, again, both those fields, the one uptown and the one Spring Street, are pretty much the same size. So
Okay.
either or that would work.
Okay.
Okay.
So lacrosse, but getting a schedule from them determining, like when football started, it was like 2 weeks before we realized football was actually happening. I didn't think 2 months ago it was. I'm not sure if anybody did, but then all of a sudden it got pushed. So now here it is. So we open it Cohasset on March 12th. Then we play Norwell. Abington and Rockland are both looking for a field to play at because their only turf field has no seating, and they're going to have a pretty difficult time not allowing fans to watch, a football game between those two. We're probably the best two teams in the area. And then we get to that April 9-10 where we were supposed to have a home game with Randolph. And I told you guys before, I mean, if the weather turns and it was never doable, I'm going to completely agree with you guys, and at least the team we're playing has a turf field to switch the game to. And Nick is fully aware of that. We're just hoping that the weather works out and we can, get a couple games on. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, you know, April, what it's like, because we could never get baseball on that field till like the middle of the month.
I know. We never played the beginning of the season there.
Right. And, we just spent between material and labor, we just spent about 15 grand to get the infield all done for everybody.
Yeah.
And we just hate to see it torn up. So, and you're right. We don't know. Just like you don't know. We don't know what the weather's going to be like. And, we can't even get equipment out there at this point to get the goalpost up. You know what I mean? That's probably going to be, if he can attest to this, probably going to be a last minute thing depending on weather. Whether it dries out enough to get a goalpost out,
Yeah.
He dug them out. He dug out. He had the holes ready, but it's now getting the equipment out there to get it done.
Yeah.
So we know April. Go ahead.
No, I knew it was going to. It has to be like this perfect scenario for this to happen with the weather. I mean, we could get a 30-inch snowstorm in the end of March. I'm aware of that. The next 10 days looks really good, but I mean, it would have to stay the perfect scenario for us to get the April 10th game in. But then we got 2 dates after that.
Right.
So
right.
And then
you also got JV. So we actually got you're going to have the JV schedule too, right? The 12th, the 17th, and 24th.
JV would be Saturday mornings after.
Right, but you're still looking to play those days if possible.
JV's debatable. We can send them away. I think I'm really just trying to hope for this senior football team. I mean, if we had a regular season last June, they would have ended up in Gillette. They're the best team in the area, and they've been together for since they were little kids. Right. Great group of kids, really good students. It's just terrible what's happened. The JV can go if we don't want to. I wouldn't offer the field unless it was a perfect situation, because all these teams we're playing have turf fields available on Saturday mornings. We'll just send them in a bus.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
well,
Grimes, how does it handle? How are you going to handle, like, for instance, that Randolph thing, right? Let's say that gets switched to Randolph.
Yeah.
How are we going to handle the fans? Can we consider that a home game and our fans go?
So the Randolph, the league's still trying to figure it out. So the Randolph guy, if it's a home game, it would be our home fans, 2 kids per person would be able to go. So they would allow our home fans, even if it's not the policy, because it's really supposed to be our game. Good. So I get 2 tickets for every player. So I've got like 90 parents can go. And then if they can work. Now, Randolph's a better scenario than Abington and even better than like Cohasset. Cohasset is it's a turf football field with little stands and nothing on the other side. You still have to keep the families 6 feet apart. 4 family members can stand next to each other, but they got to be 6 feet away, so they'd be all over the field. So Randolph's bigger. There's a fence. They have more space. We had 3 soccer games there this fall, and we could have had both home and away fans. The Rockland fans had to watch from the fence.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that was addressed. That's all, to make sure that we didn't lose out on the technicality.
Yeah, the home game with the parents have got to be – the 2 parents have got to be allowed at the least to be 1 parent of each kid. And then some of us trying to live stream the games like we did for soccer, and it's saying football's difficult now, that not everybody's going to be able to do that. It's going to have to be a tape delayed game. So it's
Gary, as far as the stadium goes, if we were to do football, couldn't you split the stands, like put our fans in front of our bench and then the away team at the other end? I know it's a distance away from the game.
Yeah.
Could they be at the the far end where the goalpost is to watch the game, and you keep them separated? I mean, if the place is big enough.
Oh, we're the biggest stadium in the league. So when we do have a game, we can let 2 fans from each team in, and keep one on one side. I mean, in that stadium, I mean, 3,000 people can fit, so we'll be able to fit 300 people
Okay.
because that's
all
about
right,
what we offer. So it'll be
okay,
300 people distance.
yeah,
That was my
If-
question. Like Abington, they don't have, even if we put out portable bleachers on each set of bleachers, you'd only be able to get maybe 4 people on one set of bleachers.
No, you don't put any bleachers out this year. You make them stand up, Pete.
yeah,
Our
Yeah, no,
people can stand in our stadium, but we wouldn't give any seating on the other side. It'd be a rope and they would just watch it from the sideline. So those stands don't go out when we have a game.
Right.
yeah, and well, again, the other thing is, we put them out with machines and trucks, and
Yeah.
if it's not dry enough, they'll sink and we'll have more problems.
No,
So,
they don't go out at all. That's
okay,
that's written in you don't provide any benches.
okay, all right,
The stadium's the stadium. You can't do anything about that. But we can allow seating. We have to put people on to sit up there and tell them to socially distant. So
okay,
I guess the spring field, going back to that, I guess we'll have to see what the schedule is and what Gene's willing to help us out with again.
we'll work around it once we get ideas from both sides, have their schedule, we'll work it out.
So Eston's a pretty good couple afternoon option though, doesn't it sound like it?
Yes,
Just for them to do some training down there throwing and,
yeah,
never mind the lines, but, there'll be lines maybe at Hartsup, but, on Reed Street, but we'll just get them on a field. These guys got to understand that that's what we're going to deal with. We'll get some nets down there and get them on a field.
right.
Probably the best grass in town is at Eston, isn't it?
Oh, they've done a lot of work with their
Yeah.
sprinkler system and everything else, and their work, they've done a lot of work. It's the best grass in town.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
cow poop all over the place.
Just really wet.
Yeah, it is
It's
wet.
wet?
In certain, yeah,
Really
it
Oh,
is
yeah,
wet.
it does.
It does get
Too
wet,
well.
but
Well,
so Gary, what else are you gonna have in the spring? You're gonna have lacrosse, softball. How about track or not track, but track?
Yeah, we have track and they'll do all away meets and train at Reed Street. That's why I don't
Okay.
like the lacrosse kids practicing when track, like we've done for the last 12 years or 11,
Yeah.
is we just, the kids practice there and then when it's game day, they know they get their, they don't do any throwing and they just do all the running out on the road and all over the place. So game
Right,
days,
okay.
the track kids will get off there by 4.
Okay. And
So we can
what
start
about
practicing.
What
Baseball,
about baseball? Both JV,
JV and
varsity,
varsity.
both. JV
JV and
okay.
varsity, 2 teams. And so the oval's open and then the stadium. And we were thinking that we might do more like 4 o'clock JV, 6 o'clock varsity in the stadium.
Oh, okay.
So we'll do-
Run double games up there.
Yeah, do more than we have in the past.
The JV field will be available, so
Yeah.
we're gonna keep that open. So
Yeah,
that's
so
available
that,
too.
we still have that, yeah.
So okay.
Okay, and there's no problem getting to it, right? It's always gonna be about safety.
Same way. Come down through the back of the stadium. Come down, the same way you're gonna bring softball in.
Okay.
You know.
Didn't how what the fencing's gonna look like and
Yeah. Again,
I'm
we don't
told
know.
I'm told there's supposed to be some walkway along the stadium, towards the girls softball field and then back towards Memorial Park, but who knows until they put it up, right?
Right, and then also they can park it. They can come and park at the senior center and walk in that way.
They can?
Yeah, it's all
There's
open.
Was there a
parking
walk?
lot.
Is there a
There's a
walkway, Rich?
There's a additional parking lot up in the corner right near the field.
How do they get down to the field though? Did they do that opening they talked
There's no
about?
fence. There's no fence. It's wide open. They can
Oh, walk right down.
Yeah,
Awesome.
walk right down. Because
So-
Dave put an additional parking lot in for the seniors a couple years ago,
I remember that.
and so that's sitting out there. So that's available for use too.
So at 3:30, could a bus park there?
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
we can work that out with the we'll just let the senior center know.
Let
that there's a
Peggy
bus
know?
in their lot.
Give
So-
Peggy a schedule? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's a
'cause
good
they're
option.
usually done by 3:30. Well, they're not even open right now. You know, if
They go,
so they're not even really they're doing stuff remotely themselves. So
Joe's
that
all,
parking lot's
Joe's all
empty.
done doing bingo there at 3:30.
Yeah, Joe's done doing bingo. So,
I
yeah,
had to get that in, Joe.
You could park a bus there, Gary, and they could walk right to the field,
Oh, that's awesome.
JV field.
Yeah, that's the only concern. John and I we're only concerned of the construction when the high school was up was a shit show.
Yeah.
Getting past that and everything. So those are all really good suggestions.
And the other thing is too, don't forget the Reed Street track isn't that far of a walk. They can always walk over from there too for additional parking. You know, park there and walk through the school.
Yeah,
That
that's
wouldn't be
good.
anywhere near the construction.
And then so then the last thing is the outside fan limit is going to be probably up to 40%. The state can say whatever they want, but school districts go by what they want. You know, everybody keeps saying, well, why don't you just let everybody into these games? Well, high schools aren't going to do that. Some high schools are, but some of them say the CDC says 40%. And if your stadium holds 2,000 people, why aren't you letting this many people in? No, nobody's going to do that until after the summer.
Right, and again, you still got to work with the state on what the regulations are, you know. So you kind of got to work together, you know.
We have to get approval from the Board of Health
Kelly.
agent just to get started, and we've had to send her practice plans and our rosters, and we've had to do all of that, and we've gone through all of the proper procedures.
Yeah, we had to do the same thing for baseball, and everybody that started last year, everybody had to submit their plans, you know.
Yeah. So we've already gone through everything with her.
Okay, good. All right.
And yeah,
Well-
so cheerleading, football got approved, and then she had to approve indoor volleyball. So it's all in place.
You're not doing wrestling, are you?
No, they told our decision is going to be we're not going to do wrestling. They telling us we're going to take the wrestling mats, put them out on the outfield of the springs of the stadium, and we'll have outdoor wrestling. I said, there's no way we're getting wrestling mats anywhere. We don't have an equipment to do that. Those people don't know how, and we don't have those portable wrestling mats. Those wrestling mats weigh about probably 1,000 pounds when we move them. And there's three of them.
I heard that
That's
the other day that wrestling had to be outdoors. I said, good luck.
I said, well, so add the construction site to the fields being taken away. Now we have a park. What are you going to put a mat in a parking lot for? We're just going to have to forego that. And the coaches kind of know that. I don't think that's ever going to happen.
Yeah, no, not with us anyway. Maybe somebody else.
That's a
will try it, but good
suggestion.
luck. Yeah.
Who's going to let kids wrestle for 9 minutes all over each other?
Yeah.
You don't want to touching each other in basketball.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Rich, I just want to,
it
sounds like we have a plan in place, especially for the lacrosse. Well, I shouldn't say that. Lacrosse seems like it's a little open-ended still. Seems like we have a home for football, but you know, I don't want to create any wars here, but I really want to see us stick to the protocols that we've always used in regards to the hierarchy of who gets what fields. Now, granted, it's not the normal fields that they use, but if the high school lacrosse team needs a place to play, it has to be a priority in my mind.
Yeah, well, we've got.
I don't want
it's
to
all set. It's just practice they're looking for.
Groups and everything else has to be that, in my opinion. So,
well, I'm glad Steve said that because I got a little confused. I didn't know that. I got the feeling that youth commission had priority over the high school when it was always. You guys always told me if the high school needs a field, they're going to get a field before youth football, anything. Is it still that way?
Yeah, but
Joe said no.
Huh?
Joe's saying no.
High school's always got priority. We just gotta work it out with everybody, you know, as far as to coordinate with it. You know what I mean? Get everybody on the same page. You know.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you could practice there, and you know, we can probably move some of her stuff to Jefferson, then that takes care of the problem. You know what I mean? And as far as home games. I mean, the only field we got really used for 2 locations, you could always put a field down to Eston and put a game down there, or we could stay up at, just use the Reed Street like we were doing, that's all.
Yeah, just for the games, right?
Just
Yeah.
for the game, and we
Okay.
we can practice practice either at Hartsuff Park or Ian
Eston.
Eston, you know,
Yeah, okay,
you know,
Well,
So that
Hartsuff's
takes
probably
care
the
of
dry,
that,
Hartsuff's probably the driest field we have. You know,
right?
It just,
Yeah.
it always sheds off. It's never muddy. It's always, I don't know what's underneath it, but it always sheds off the water.
it sounds
Yeah.
like, Dave, sounds like you want to just set up the Hartsuff Park as the
I
lacrosse.
was just thinking
Well,
that if
Talking with the youth lacrosse, they pushed all that, they kind of knew this was coming, so they know their practices would be after 5 o'clock. You know, with this, they know, talking with them. So, we just have to work it out with everybody else, I guess, so. But I mean, we only have 30 or 40% of our games at home anyway, so if we have a 10-game schedule, realistically, we probably have 3 or 4 home games and that's it.
That's
Yeah,
it,
I'm
yeah.
not worried about your home games. I think you'd be all
Right.
set with that.
Right.
It's just getting you guys some practice time. And again, we got like I said, we got Eston, and we just work it out. The only thing about, a Hartsuff is it's not a full field. If you wanted a
Right.
full field, you're just not going to get it there.
Yeah, Everybody's-
it's good for practicing, but that's it.
people are gonna have to compromise, but, so Pete, we're gonna need 3:15 to 4:30, and then the 4:30 to 6. So that would be 2 practice times if they were in the same spot. If we send somebody, hey, you go to Eston at 3:30 and you got it till 5, that's great. So Dave, I don't know if we can work it, take Eston, Hartsuff Park for, till 6 o'clock, 6:15 every night.
No,
Yeah.
we probably have to, we'd have to probably have another field and we'd alternate. Like
Okay.
we like with Lauren, we just alternate times. And then we always tried to, like when we knew track was away, we would try to get like one practice at Lower Reed, so we were like in a game,
Yeah.
game format. 'Cause it's
Yeah,
tough
if
to
track's
go
not
from-
there, then that day one can go to Reed Street, one can go to
Right.
Hartsuff.
I can work that out with Sue, so, we'll practice wherever we gotta practice. I mean, we would just be happy to be on the field again, so.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
we just-
my only thought about Eston was we could probably squeeze a full-size field in down there, which, might work for, help with the practice stuff. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, it's
If
the
you
same
wanna-
dimensions, same exact dimensions. It's 110, so it's literally the same dimensions as a soccer field.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we could probably find, you wouldn't put you up in the wet area, but we could definitely find someplace to put it to make
Right.
it work,
Yeah. I mean, like I
So-
said, we would just alternate, like even if we had, we would still have to stripe out Hartsuff anyways for youth. So it would already be, Pete already has it all pegged
Right.
anyway. So just for practice, and then whatever we had to do at Eston or whatever, and then, whatever, one a day or 2 at Lower Reed, and then that's it. you
Right.
know?
All right.
I know for a fact that we're not gonna have time to paint Bicentennial, Hartsuff, and Eston and keep up with football, getting ready for baseball. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah.
We'll make sure Hartsuff's all set in Bicentennial for lacrosse. But I don't know if we have to paint Eston too, we're gonna be looking at a lot of extra time and paint.
No, I don't think you will for practice, Pete. I think they're gonna have to handle that as there's some lacrosse nets down there and they get a field to run on. They're lucky with what
Right.
we're going through.
I mean, Hartsuff, we already have nets down there. So there's
Yeah.
already, 5 or 6 nets down there. So.
All right, so it's kind of to wrap, we've got a lot of good suggestions, but so in my mind, is there a consensus that we're gonna try to do the end of April football games? Weather permitting?
Well, I would say weather permitting. I mean, Gary, as well as I do, weather permitting. Yeah. Cause we'll do the best we can.
Okay.
It's day by day, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's day by day.
Gary,
Yeah, yeah.
we've had snow April, we've had snow in May.
April 1st, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've had, It's just a matter of getting rid of the snow and getting the fields dried out, you know?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
definitely
If it's,
we'll work on it, and we'll just have to go day by day as we get closer to those games.
yeah,
We'll see what happens.
might be like a 10-day notice that, yeah, it looks like the weather looks good. There's a long range forecast. It looks like it's going to work.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
the next few weeks look good, so, I mean, if that just carries over for the end of March, you guys will be all set.
Right.
know?
Exactly. Keep our fingers crossed. That's all.
Oh, I know. It's
Can I
like,
ask- Can I ask a couple questions?
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Joe.
Gary and Dave, what's the earliest you guys can start your games?
4,
4:00 because everybody gets released late now, Joe. Because of the COVID schedule, we get out at almost 2:49, and most other schools are 2:50.
So what time, what's the length of the game?
So 4:00 is a start
5:30.
time. What
5:30.
game? Like
What
lacrosse
time you
gets
think
over
it ends?
hour and a half.
Hour and a half?
Lacrosse gets out in an hour and a half.
Figure 2 hours for a block and you're safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
baseball's more.
Right. Well, yeah.
and those games, a lot of those games, like we said, will probably be away on turf fields. You know what I mean? The beginning of April, Gary's always scheduled, most of our beginning of our season is away. You know, so I mean, like I said, we're just happy to be getting on the field, so we'll play wherever we gotta play. You know, it'd be nice to, like we talked about before, we started that tradition like 2 years ago, get one stadium game, and that'll be, you know, in June. So
Yeah.
That'll
that'll
be
be,
the
That's
easy
June,
game.
yeah.
you know what I mean? That's a senior
That was a
game.
great day.
Boom. Who would have thought of that, you know? So, but
Dave, Bicentennial's in great shape.
yeah, Yeah.
Really good shape.
yeah, I went by there. It looks good. So,
Good grass.
yeah. And so, and then, you know, I did talk to the engineers, just so everybody knows. I talked to the engineers today. So I've been, you know, with Chris Racine over at the engineering group. So they, you know, when they start phase 1 down there, they are doing those paths, because those paths are mandatory. So those softball fields are, you know, available. And then that road, will be starting on that back
Okay.
road that goes around the back of the softball field, because that's for the contractors. So we agreed to that, as opposed to, you know, them putting that road in as a permanent road for us, as opposed to coming off of the senior center. So that'll be part of the project, you know, so you should
right.
have, the accessibility was mandatory when we were going over everything for the sports and for you guys, you know, just for work and everyday work. So,
All right, and the last thing before I go is somebody has to find some money to resurface the track before I die.
Gary,
Holy.
it's dead for a while. You know that. We can't get. I mean, we can try. The only other option would be, I don't even know if it falls under CPA. I don't know if because they're the only ones that have have any access to money right now. The town's not.
You can
gonna
do a
put it-
turf and grass field with that. You can do a track and a grass field facility with the CPA.
Only if it's a new facility. If it's already existing, you can't, because it's a maintenance issue. We got a price 2 years ago, 3 years ago for $750. It's probably gone up to $1 million to do that
Yeah.
track.
We need a track for the kids.
we
Oh,
do
I
have,
know.
It's too bad.
I know.
we have that, we do have asphalt out for procurement, though. We could probably get a, you know, if that's not reality, get that measured out. We could probably get that, you know, that could be ripped out in-house, and then, you know, have an asphalt crew, because we do pay probably a quarter of what you would to a subcontractor, because we already have that out for procurement for asphalt by the ton. So it might be something. So the only thing you might have to do, if it was a complete rehab, it might be a little different. You know, we could tear it out in-house, so you wouldn't be paying for demo, and then have do a regulation track asphalt. And then the only thing we'd have to come up with for, you know, extra money would be the rubberization and the striping. So it might be something to think about, you know, within
Yeah,
the next year or so. Because we do our procurement for 5 years. So that's, you know, we try to carry it, and it's for the town. It's not for Rockland.
Yeah.
It's out for the town of Rockland, so it's a little different.
I thought
So we'd have.
state lanes.
What's that?
I thought a new track was 8 lanes, not
It
6.
it
No,
is,
you
but
can, no, you
but
can do,
that's-
you can do 6. Hull had to do a 6. It's just you run it in a 6-lane meet. You can't do a state meet at a 6-lane track, but you can do a regular track meet
We
on
can't,
6 lane.
Joe, we can't do any bigger than we already got there. That,
Yeah.
what we have is
Right.
it.
but
You
you
know,
Yeah,
can
6 works.
do
Joe,
the
we
same
can't go any,
format.
can't go any bigger because you can't go in anymore and you can't go out because of the ledge and everything up in the far corner. So we're stuck with what we had kind of have, but if we could look at what it costs for rubberization and paint and striping after that, maybe that's an idea we can look into getting done. So, okay,
Yeah.
All right,
Good
thank
idea.
you.
good idea.
He's
Anybody
All
else
right.
have any questions for Gary or Dave?
I'm good.
Peter, no?
Gary, my only thing is, as you get going and as we get closer to home games, let's
Yeah.
stay in touch. Figure
Oh,
out,
yeah.
figure out what the weather's gonna do and everything else, so we can go from there. And as soon as you hear anything on your spring
Spring.
schedule, let us know so we can, stop plugging stuff in and letting people know.
Actually, I tried to get the league to do them this week, and they said they had to wait for the state to determine if they're trying to force on a spring tournament because the kids missed it last spring.
Right. I know
especially-
that's. Yeah,
So
that's
they're
a big
pushing
thing.
that. Otherwise, we just do our league playoffs like we did for basketball. And
That's it.
so as soon as they tell us that, we'll bang out softball and baseball. That's what you really need to know.
Yeah.
Gary,
Yeah.
can you give us heads up for the guys on the park so he's not doing things at the last minute? Just keep in touch with Pete.
Oh,
So
yeah.
he stays
We
ahead
do.
or something like that.
I buzz Pete even on a Saturday night when he's drinking, watching the Bruins game. I don't care what he's doing. I still text him.
Yeah, that I will accord for that. Gary will send you texts anytime, so.
Yeah. Or maybe I'm drinking watching the Bruins game.
Maybe, yeah,
And I think of things. Okay.
yeah,
I texted Dave all weekend about lacrosse, I think.
yeah. I did
All
talk
right.
to
Thanks,
my-
guys.
All right,
The
thank you.
coaches-
Like I said, keep in touch and we'll work everything out.
All right,
Okay. I'll get you that schedule as soon as I
See you
can.
guys.
I know.
Thank
It's just
you.
like everybody. Everybody's waiting.
All right.
Big Ross.
All right,
Hey,
thanks, guys.
one more thing. Gene
Yeah.
Blaney's a little scary.
Why?
Pete and I are afraid of her.
You should be.
Oh, God.
All right, see you.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah.
All right, bye.
Oh, God.
He knows this is taped, right?
I'm sorry I didn't send you guys the minutes. I just been crazy. I haven't typed up the minutes. I'll get them to you with this one and we'll have the 2 minutes. Well, next issue was permit and field issues. Right now, I know all you sports are out there with, got their registrations going. I know lacrosse, softball, and baseball have got their the registrations going, and they're all waiting to see what they get for their numbers, so they'll see what's going on. I'm not worried about either one of them, as well, softball and baseball, because we got the fields to handle them. Just a little, they'll just have to do a little creative scheduling. Lacrosse will work out as far as youth lacrosse once we find out how many teams, because that's the other thing. Youth lacrosse, if they get 4 or 5 teams and they only got one field to play on, to practice on it, it gets tough. You know what I mean? So they'll have to. We'll work it out, and we've always have anyway. Other than that, that's about it that I know is for field permits right now and field issues. Everything depends on the weather. We're all waiting on that to clear up, and we'll get out there and do his work. Pete, you got any issues on permits or fields yet?
No, I just, want to reiterate, weather-wise, we're gonna have to take this game by game, that's all.
Yeah, exactly. It's all game by game in the weather. We don't know. I mean, again, like I said in the beginning, we got some next couple years are going to be tough because of the fields until we get the turf field up and running and we can get Jefferson, once that school comes down, we hopefully get Jefferson up. We can get a multi-purpose field down there. Well, then we'll be pretty set. We'll have enough going on,
Well, also, hopefully this COVID crap will be gone and football will be in football season and baseball will be in baseball season.
Well, well, yeah, but I see that going back to normal next year anyway. I see them doing whatever they do for football now, we'll probably be doing for football in the spring, in the fall rather,
Well,
Um,
yeah, so that's going to alleviate. if
that'll
they get it
alleviate,
like that.
yeah, that'll alleviate the problems that we're having right now. Just so you know, the budget, me and Pete met with finance. We've met with capital planning. There was no big issues there. We just went over a few things. They don't even know what they have for money, if there's gonna be money. The budget is the budget. They did a 1% increase on some of the items. They didn't touch the the field maintenance money, all that stuff. They did do 1% on salaries and stuff, but they still have to negotiate all that stuff. That's all up for negotiation this year. But the budget's in. They didn't know, they're not talking any cuts or anything else right now. Hopefully they're not, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But the budget's in as we put it. Town meeting articles, we didn't get any in. Pete was able to take care of the Pete and Steve and them were able to take care of the roller. So the roller's back up and running. It was just some little maintenance issues that they were able to take care of. And then the only other thing we were looking at trying to get is to get that building over to Reed Street replaced, because it's definitely, needs to be replaced in the next couple of years because it's corroded, it's coming down. And we'll just have to, hopefully, if they come up with some extra money, we can sneak something in and we'll see what happens. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Hey, Rich, can we go
yes.
back to the I should have intervened earlier, but the turf field that's going in with the school project,
Yep.
what is the timeline of that? Is the timeline of that the day the school opens, that field opens, or is there a way
No,
to expedite
no,
that? Especially where it's
no.
going to be off to the side.
That field is going where Memorial Park School is.
I thought it was to the side of that where
No,
our yard is.
yes, it is, but it goes into the
Okay.
school. That's the back end of it, and it goes into the school.
Okay, all right,
So,
okay.
but Pete, you haven't had any conversations with anything about, because what Dave said tonight about the school in that road was the first I'm hearing. We haven't had any conversations with these guys about anything down there, right?
At the beginning, like way at the beginning, we had a meeting. You were there. Joe was there. I don't know
Yeah,
if Steve, you were there over at the high school.
Yeah,
And
but
they
we,
talked about those guys, the maintenance work or the workers coming down Leonard Street and parking down in the Penn area, or that would be one staging area.
no, see, we didn't get into that. When we left that meeting, they wanted the parking area over on Reed Street at the track, and we told them no.
No, Rich, no, it was what Pete said. They wanted to
I don't
come,
remember that.
well,
I
they asked if they could use the Pine Grove. We said absolutely not. And someone suggested using the road and using the pin down parking, because the fence was gonna be still around, so they could park some vehicles in there. And one of the guys on the team said that they might not need that. So I don't know where it stands today.
Well, exactly. But we never, there was no decision made that night as far as parking and stuff. They actually shoot us out of the meeting quick because they didn't have a lot of time frame for that part of the meeting. They were running out of time and they had to, talk about something else. But yeah, there was no decision, I thought, made that night. There was a lot of options thrown around, but I didn't remember any decision coming up. But
no,
We'll
it was
see.
brought up.
Has anybody looked at
It
has anybody looked at the old Standard building as an option there?
that's up to them. We haven't. No.
No, I know it's not our
Yeah.
chore, but I mean, that to me, that's a perfect option.
It would be. It would be. They would be out of the way, and they could just walk right over. But no, I mean that's the first Dave said something about them going in and using that road, because no one's come to us about it at all. So we'll have to touch base with Dave and see what's going on. Community preservation. Any updates, Joe?
I sent you out the study from Hansa Park study.
Yep.
A lot of comments. ideas, what people want down there. A lot of people have good ideas. Some people not informed of what's actually going on in town. So it's the typical stuff. So until they get back to us with more stuff, we have a meeting, I believe, Thursday during the day, Pete. Pete,
Hello?
do we have a meeting on Thursday, Hansa Park?
Yeah, no, it wasn't till, I think it's next week, the 11th or something like that.
Oh, the following week, yes.
Yeah, it's
So-
not for another week.
Waiting on the survey of the property. I guess they were doing it by drone. And, you know, I requested to make sure they put markers in, so we don't have to keep doing this survey every time something goes on down there. So that's about where we're at. I keep you updated.
Okay. All right, well, that's why I figured I'd throw it in there to keep the update going. Because I know the Reed's Pond thing is still waiting for the title search and all that, so get that taken care of, so. And what Peter sent out to us today might help him, might not, who knows?
Right.
So we'll see what happens. But, all right, anybody got anything else they wanna?
Hey, Pete, anything new on the building, Pete, other than kind of what we've already chatted about?
No, just what we chatted about. Mike's supposed to be up this week to get an exact stock list, and he's looking at the company coming in next week, I believe. So,
Okay. And actually, I will chime in there. I did speak to Pete Reardon from PCR Construction, and he's looking to do all of the sheetrock and plastering as a donation to the town. So as soon as you guys
That's
are ready for him, he'll be up to do it. Pretty much just leaves painting after that. So
Great,
that's
Right.
awesome.
great. All right, I will-
I have one thing. Came to our attention today about down at the Bicentennial of the band recycling. I don't know if Pete sent you that picture, but they're not picking it up. You know, it's overflowing and all that stuff.
all right,
don't know.
we'll have to,
I don't know how you guys feel about this. This has been going on. This is like the 5th time that I'm aware of it overflowing, and it's pretty bad. I can send you out the picture later. Or
we'll
Pete.
just, Pete, any contacted the band? Is it anybody
Yeah.
around?
No, after Joe was in the office when Dave showed me the picture he took, I reached out to the old president of the Bambusta. He gave me the new lady's number. I reached out to her, left her a message explicitly saying that something's got to be done with it. The whole box, the whole thing is falling apart. I says if it's not taken care of, then we're just going to shovel it up and throw it away, pretty much.
Okay,
I told her to call me. I left her my cell phone and my office phone.
all right, well, give it a couple days, we'll see what happens, and, you know, if we don't get any satisfaction out of them, then we'll have to take care of it.
Yeah, because this is the worst it's ever been right now.
Okay. All right, give them a couple days to answer you back, and then, you know, and when you do hear from them, just tell them we've got to, you know, this has to be done on a regular basis if they want to keep it going, and they got to fix the box if they need it.
Yeah, they're gonna have to rebuild a new one for sure.
Okay. All right. All right, anybody else? Got anything else? No? Okay, well, we'll keep you informed as Gary lets us know, whatever. Hopefully by our meeting in April, we'll have a schedule for the baseball, softball season, and we can, you know, get that out to everybody and let everybody know what's going on. So we'll keep everybody informed and we'll go there.
Yeah.
All right, we'll call the meeting to adjourned at 7:19. Everybody have a good night. WRPS, thank you.
Thank you, Rich.
All righty, have a good night, guys.
Thanks.